Hi everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, and that is Connor. We are going to talk about Scream Queens Season 2, Episode 2. It's called Warts and All. That's title of your sex tape, Connor.
Yeah, very good.
Full spoilers for the episode, as always. And we were very happy to have this back last week, but there was one lingering, complaint that we may have had about last week's episode.
It's quite a big complaint too, really.
And that was the absence of one Chad Radwell, who graced us with his presence in episode 2.
And what an entrance it was.
And you know what's funny is because obviously Chanel's there late at night on the hospital on her own, manning the desk, and the elevator opens and the Red Devil from season 1 comes out. And I didn't jump to, oh, it's Chad, right? I didn't immediately jump to, it's Chad. But it did immediately think to me, whatever the explanation for this is going to be the explanation for the cliffhanger at the end of season 1. Because they never addressed that last week.
Yeah.
Where the Red Devil popped up at the end and Chanel screamed, and that's how the season ended in the finale. And sure enough, off comes the mask, and it is Chad Radwell.
And he is in stitches with himself.
Yes, well, because as he says, it's not Happy Gilmore funny, but it's definitely Big Daddy funny.
Yeah.
And it makes sense to me that Chad Radwell would rate his humour on a scale of Adam Sandler movies. That just makes sense,
It
because of
does, doesn't it?
course. But
Oh.
not that that's the extent of Chad Radwell in this episode. He's here because his friend has French sitting down disease. What was it called?
I can't remember.
French
It had a
sitting.
stupidly long name, didn't it?
It was French standing up main disease or something to that effect. And basically, because he was in a bit of a shock and he accidentally shot someone while they were on a trip, he screams at the slightest change of anything. So Dr. Holt starts clicking his pen at him, and he's screaming like a little girl every time it clicks. And so this is all hilarious. But the greatest part of this scene is actually it's Chad Radwell realizing that Chanel is into the Doctor. And he starts just bringing up things. He's like, "Did I mention I'm in a band? I'm leading man," and so
Oh
on.
man. Oh, I miss Chad. I miss Chad so
I
much.
did miss Chad. Oh, fun enough, the most amusing part of that scene for me was when Munch says you can fight over Chanel's boobs later. I love Chanel's reaction to that because she sort of grabs her boobs and looks down and smiles like, "Oh, that was a nice
It's
thing to
then
say."
when Dean Munch compares it to the Falklands War, she goes, "It's a big fuss over not that much,
Not that much.
not that much land."
Yeah.
What was it? There was two things she said, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Ah,
it was all that fuss and time and energy spent on not a lot of actual land, or something to
yeah,
that effect. It was a very funny line.
was.
It was a very, very good scene. But we're not done with Chad yet. Chad's still around. Chad's not going anywhere. I'm almost expected to think that he's actually going to join the hospital next episode, giving his comments to the doctor when they go to play squash.
Yeah, yeah.
Because he's like, "I'm going to become a doctor now." It's like, that takes a long time. I'm playing the long game.
Oh yeah.
So Chad will probably be around next week, but I have deliberately skipped over the best Chad scene of the episode.
Go on.
We have the most homoerotic scene possibly in this show's history, and that's probably saying something.
It's possibly one of the most homoerotic scenes on TV. Period.
So Chad goes into the communal shower area in the locker room for the
Yeah.
hospital, and is sort of walking between Doctor Holt's in the middle shower, and there's three showers, and Chad's walking between the first and the third, to grab different things and go in the water, and he's constantly talking about how he's all suds up, and what cracked me up is he kept opening the curtain to talk to him. So they're both standing there naked, and the Doctor keeps shutting the curtain. And my favourite part of this is when Doctor Holt shuts the curtain, and Chad
And he
opens
grabs
it
it from the other
from the other
side.
side. So it's almost like one sweeping motion of the curtain going across and then opening again from the other side. It's just great. And then, of course, it ends with him actually stepping into the shower with him to go face to face,
Yeah,
man to man, as it were.
yeah.
Uh,
Oh boy.
Then, of course, the ending when he says, "Oh, I think her dick's accidentally touched."
Yeah. There's also the other Chad scene where where he's got the guy to track the hand.
Oh, of course, yes. Kevin
And
from The Office.
yeah. Oh my god, that cracked me up so much as well.
Yeah, he's playing a private eye, and he's yeah, but he has him doing two things. The other thing he has him doing is showing pictures of his penis to.
It was
various women.
where he goes, and they talked about this right angle, and I was like, is that the reason he kept pulling open the shower? He was trying to compare.
Knowing Chad, that's probably accurate.
Yeah.
And actually, the first scene he goes to see Dr. Holt is Dr. Holt's doing like an autopsy, or he's experimenting on like this corpse that he's got opened up. And I don't know if you know, it's very subtle, but Chad starts playing with the body mid-scene. He starts like poking in his fingers and at it. You don't really see exactly what he's doing, but you get the sense that he's just kind of.
It's nice, nice playback to last season, isn't it?
It is a nice playback to last season, where he was like constantly in,
It's obsessed with the dead bodies.
yeah, necrophilia and whatever else. But speaking to epic callbacks to last season, that's not even my favourite callback to last season.
Go on.
So, after the opening scene, so we've had this murder at the end of the last episode where the Green Meanie has decapitated the werewolf girl. And don't worry, we'll get to this week's patient in due time. But, so, decapitated werewolf girl, and great, fantastic opening scene with the detective just like poo-pooing everything that Chanel number 5 says. Oh, suspect is can't keep her story straight. Oh, suspect can be clear on her own motives and all that, and she keeps calling the suspect. And I think I love Chanel number 5's reaction to everything. Her like freaking out and like going high pitched.
I don't think that would be nearly as funny with anyone else.
No, it wouldn't
But with
be.
Chanel number 5, it's hilarious.
Yeah, because she's like, it's the huffing and puffing and the really high pitched
Yeah.
manner that gets you after
Yeah.
the detective says the lines, and then. This isn't the callback I was talking about yet, but Munch like comes into the scene and says, "Just out of curiosity, do you have to like, graduate from high school to become a detective?" And the detective's like, "No, you do not." That's a good callback because last season we repeatedly saw how inept the police were all season. They were terrible.
Also, I actually thought it was a throw forward to a potential season 3.
Oh, really?
Where she was saying, "Oh, maybe we could be detectives next time."
Do you know what? I wouldn't put it past this show if next season they're all in detective school or,
Like they're the ones actively going after
Or
the serial killers.
Quantico, as it's brought up later in the episode. But so she brings this up, and it was just a fun callback to because remember last season those police that come in and they just want to like wipe it under the rug as quickly as possible. But so later on, Denise is brought on board. Munch has called in Denise, and I was like, yes, we need Denise in the show, right? And as soon as the scene starts with Denise, in my head I'm thinking, she's going to blame it on Zadie. Like, immediately. Zadie is going to get the blame of this right away, because that was her thing all last season. She was going to, it's that Zadie Williams, is the last name Williams? I think it is.
Yeah, it is.
It's just all last season, that's all she was saying. And I knew she was going to do it immediately. Immediately. I knew she was going there. And
It wasn't even like the Chanel number 5 vagina teeth where I'd forgotten. It was as soon as this was there, I was like, I know where this is going.
Exactly. And it's at this moment that I realised why they brought Zadie back and not Grace. Like, who cares about Grace?
Oh, that's a name.
Aye, Grace. Season 1, aye.
Yeah, but I remember last week neither of us could remember it.
Yeah, well, she was probably the most forgettable character, let's be honest.
Yeah.
But, like, I'm like, oh, this makes sense. This is why they brought Zadie back, because we couldn't have this joke without Zadie. So, yes. Excellent. Fantastic.
That, and you've got to have one person to play it straight.
Yeah, you need one straight man out of the whole thing.
Yeah.
And of course, Zadie starts investigating Munch again, because, and also, I love that about the opening scene, because Munch just walks in and is like, and before even anyone asks her anything, she's just like, here's my alibi. She's like, oh, my Wi-Fi's done in my apartment, so I was doing some Skype calls in my office. Like, it just immediately.
Yeah.
In fact, speaking of Munch, and again, speaking to a callback to last season, okay, if you remember last season, Munch was attacked by 2 red devils and fought them both off as if she's some sort of kung fu master. And once again in this episode, the Green Meanie appears and attacks her. In a dark hallway.
I'd forgotten that she'd had that amazing scene until, like, she blocks the knife coming down at her face. She just spins around and just stops it. It's like, oh yeah, I remember this now.
Yeah, and she fights off the Green Meanie. And that whole thing where Zayte and Chamberlain interrupt her. She has him on the floor. She's like, right, I'm about to find out who the Green Meanie is, and he's disappeared. And she's like, in future, when someone has the killer on the floor and is about to lift up their mask to find out who it is, don't interrupt them. You know, the whole thing.
It's also a nice meta reference for all the people who complained at the plot of why don't they just unmask them, like they always ran away and they never actually did it. But yeah.
No, it was great stuff. It was lots of cool continuations of jokes last season, but putting new spins on them.
Yeah, for all that it's a fresh start, I wouldn't recommend it. People watching this without the first season, because so many of the jokes are callbacks.
Oh yeah, like as much as it's kind of anthology style, it's not really.
Yeah,
like you have to have the history with the characters and have the investment with them. And also, so getting back to the Denise scene, so Denise says, "I know who we can go talk to get an insight into the mind of a..." Because she gives that whole... Because Denise likes to go over the top and being like, to catch a killer, you have to be in the mind of a killer. And I knew where this was going. It was going to go to Hester.
What I wasn't expecting, though, was the full-on Silence of the Lambs treatment.
See, I kind of was.
Well, yeah.
Like, I don't
Not
know...
to the extent that it was, though.
Maybe not to the extent that it was, but as soon as because it cuts to them coming down the elevator, and as soon as I seen the elevator, I'm like, they're going to make this look exactly like Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
And as they're walking down the hall of cells, you know, the prisoner past the prisoners, I remember that in that scene in Silence of the Lambs, Jodie Foster gets semen thrown at her face.
Yeah.
And all I could think was, are they going to do their version of that?
And they did.
They did. Chanel got hit with was it cake icing or something like that she said?
Something, yeah.
And I was just cracking up.
I didn't catch quite what it was because I was too busy laughing at them doing the exact same thing.
I was too busy laughing, yeah. But I like the idea that it was a food thing because it amuses me to think that Chanel is probably more disgusted that having something with calories thrown at her than actual semen.
Yeah, it's very true.
But yeah, so they go and talk to Hester, and Hester seems to know what's going on, despite the fact that she's locked in her cell. And she's even got the drawings that Hannibal Lecter has in his cell.
There's the butterfly and everything.
Yeah, like it's full on. Like they're going full on Hannibal Lecter with this. And then she's like, "Look, I'll help you catch the killer, but I want to be moved to the hospital. I want to be transferred." Which again brings all the characters into the one location. I'm sure Munch will talk her into it.
Do you know what? I can almost see them it being her again. Just, as the killer, or at least like in league with it. Just as like, how everything's been like these callbacks and parallels to the first season. I can see that being the swerve. Like, oh, we won't expect it to be her again, but that's kind of the joke.
Which is why at the end of season 3, that's when Zayte does turn out to be the killer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want this.
Yeah. That's how it should work. So presumably that's going to happen next episode. And the last thing on the whole Munch stuff is that she reveals that she thinks she's dying from accidentally eating a cannibal, or eating a human being at a cannibal tribe thing in New Guinea.
Yeah. Because
of course Munch did that between seasons. Of course she did.
Yeah, exactly.
But the other thing going on with all this though is that the officer, I keep saying officer instead of doctor.
Do you know? I figured out why.
Why?
It's Winona Earp. Officer Hot, and they keep calling him Dr. Hot.
But also Brooklyn Nine-Nine, because of Holt.
Yeah, it's a combination.
Captain Holt, yeah. That's what it is. It's these other shows and the similar names, that's what's affecting me. But anyway, so Hoffel, Dr. Hoffel, is spying on people. She's planted a bug inside Munchie's office. And she's still, and there's that bit where she's interrogating not Chanel, she's Zayde, and she's like, can you give me when the Chanels would be on their own? It's clearly putting her as one of the big suspects, which makes me think it's probably not her, but
yeah,
and we get a fantastic. We haven't even got to the patient yet, and I've still got one more thing to talk about, and that's the flashback. So Zayde and I keep forgetting his name. Chamberlain, yeah, the new guy. That's why I'm forgetting his name, because he's new. But he gets like the old newspaper, like I don't even know what you call them, the old slides that you look at through the old machines. Because Zayde even says it's like a detective show from the 70s.
Yeah.
When they're looking at these, and when they're looking at that, we get this flashback to this massacre that happened a year after the flashback we got last week. So at this same hospital, this Green Meanie showed up and killed
Everyone.
Yeah, because we see him
It
kill
was all the staff, yeah.
we see him kill a couple of people, and then we just see the room with bodies littered everywhere. And it was a really fun sequence. There was a lot of funny stuff of like, there's a whole the rocket ship and the Uranus joke, the couple, and they were cracking all the sexual innuendo. There was a lot of fun stuff with her running in her little Uranus costume, like she's sort of shuffling along.
Yeah,
and that was good fun. My only complaint would be that when the killer first comes in and he kills like 3 of the people, he throws his machete and it slices across the neck of one person and then stabs the other one. The machete looked really fake. It was really like obvious CG.
Yeah, no, I agree. It was even like, because it did that like slow-mo close-up as he slits the throat, and it was like, oh, that looks awful.
It was really cool, but it was kind of a thing where it was obviously CG, so it just kind of took me out of it.
Yeah.
But the rest of the scene was a lot of fun, and that's building this backstory of, there was these killings all these years ago, and
yeah.
So, no, good fun. But that leaves us to I guess the main plot. I mean, if you can pick one as the main plot. So apparently everyone who comes to this hospital for treatment is going to be dead by the end of the episode.
Yep.
Because I'm going to call him the Thing, because it reminded me of the Thing with all these tumours. It reminded me of the Thing from Fantastic Four for people who aren't comic book folk. So it's actually it's Roy from Arrow, first of all.
It cracked me up because I noticed, like, I realised who he was just before he pulled out the picture.
See, I didn't. I didn't get who it was at all. And the funny thing is when he first showed up, and you can't tell who he is. He's covered in these things, like the Thing.
I only got it from his voice.
And I was like, I bet I probably know who this is, but I can't see him.
See, I felt that last week as well.
Yeah. But it didn't turn out to be, did it?
Not that I recall.
No.
But then we never saw her properly, because even after she lost the werewolf, she was bald, and it was like, well, I still.
Well, no, they put her on a wig though, and
they put her on a wig, but it was not it wasn't enough for me to jog any memories.
Yeah. Whereas when he shows the photo of himself on the phone of how he used to look, and I was like, oh, it's Roy from Arrow. Very good.
Yeah.
That's what he's up to. So the whole plot here is that he needs this special laser treatment to remove all of the all the tumours on his body, and it'll work, but it costs a lot of money. And Chanel number 5 didn't realise, she's told by Chanel number 1 that if she stands by him just now while he's ugly, that when he's hot again, he will feel compelled to stick by her because she stood with him throughout this difficult time.
Makes a surprising amount of sense considering this comes from Chanel.
It does. It's very vain and it's very shallow, but it's true. It's accurate.
Yeah.
And at least there's some wonderful moments. I especially love the crowdfunding video with the Sarah McLachlan song playing over it.
It's so stereotypical, cheesy crowdfunding, like sad video.
It is
awareness video.
But then Chanel number 5 steps in front of the camera and starts being really vain about it. Let him be hot again. Isn't this an injustice that he's not hot? Really, really good stuff. But at least to the other great scene when they go on a kind of date to this little diner, and these guys start making fun of him for how he looks, and it reminded me of that scene in season 1 where all 3 Chanels start beating the crap out of people in the cafeteria. I don't know if you remember that scene.
Yeah.
Well, it reminded me of that because she starts beating the everlasting crap out of these 2 guys and hits them over the head with things, trays of food and all sorts. And then she's like, you can't talk to him like that. And then at the end she yells out, and I don't have teeth in my vagina.
Yeah. And then she just sits down and is like, sorry, I have some anger issues.
Yeah.
But it leads to then my favourite moment.
Yes, the twist, if you will.
Yes, exactly. So they get back, and she's about to go in for the kiss, even though he's still all ugly. And then, pop, confetti everywhere. And the other Chanels show up, and they start giving this speech
about passing the test, how you're giving love and attention to someone who is such a weird member of society, who is basically a freak. They don't say that word, but that's essentially what they're getting at.
Yeah.
And then to say, no, we're not talking to you, we're talking to him.
That cracked me up.
Yeah, and then they reveal that they've paid for the laser. Or she got Chad to pay for pay for the laser surgery.
I knew that was going to be it though. For the whole episode, it was like, well, Chad's just going to get it, but why?
Yeah. So that was good fun, and obviously the episode ends with he thinks he's going to get surgery early, but it's actually the Green Meanie prepping him for surgery, which makes me think whoever this is might actually be a doctor, because at first he's not dressed like the Green Meanie. You see like the regular hands come in.
Sure, but anyone could put on a doctor's coat.
Well, true, that's true.
But then, why wouldn't you suspect doctors at this point? You're in a hospital.
Yeah, that's also true. And I loved how Holding Out for a Hero plays as the Chanels are running in slow motion.
It's so good.
To try and save him. It's one of those things where this show does really well, where it'll bring in a song, and it'll just completely set this unique tone that no other TV has right now.
Yeah, the song choices are absolutely on point. There were some fantastic ones in the first season.
Also, my favourite subplot from last week is continuing, and that is the evil hand.
Yes.
The evil hand of Dr. Holt, and he goes on a date with Chanel to the movies. And funnily enough, the double feature they've went to see, the first movie, Pieces, is a movie that me and Tim have been talking about doing soon on Screams, so it was just kind of weird that popped up, because I literally was just talking about it last night.
I haven't seen the movie. I don't really know anything about it.
I haven't either.
Alright, does your knowledge of the movie, does it tie into the theme of this season in any way?
Not that I know of, but the second movie, which I have also not seen, was called The Hand. So I have a funny feeling that ties in nicely with The Hand. But the hand goes for a grope of Chanel, and she's like, "Oh, it's fine, I've not been manhandled in months, grope away." And then he grabs the Twizzlers from the guy sitting behind him, and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, here you go."
It's such an extreme reaction as well. It like proper lurches across.
Yeah. And she seems to be impressed with that as well. She's like, "What? You're doing what the guy in the movie's doing with this evil hand." He's like, "Yeah, that's it."
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. They revealed the backstory of the hand is from a squash player who was a serial killer.
Who killed over 600 people.
Yeah, 600! How do you get to 600 without being caught?
It's very impressive.
The PI even says he was an idiot, he got caught because he kept putting these things on Craigslist. Aye, after 600 people.
Yeah, I know. 600? Why are so many people answering this? I didn't realise there were 600 people in the world that cared that much about squash.
I mean, 600's probably... I mean, it's not like he's killing them en masse. He's doing them one at a time. So 600 victims is actually, like, a record. It has to be a record.
I loved his squash racket with the switchblade at the bottom, though.
Yeah, sure.
That was fantastic. Everyone should have one of those.
I love how his motivation wasn't even consistent, because at first he was killing them because they were beating them in squash. But
no, it's because he was beating them and he thought they were insulting to the game of squash.
Not the first one.
Oh no, the very first one. The rest of them, wasn't it?
Yeah, but the first one was they beat him, so he got angry and killed them.
Yeah.
But then it turned into he's beating all these losers that he's getting on Craigslist and still killing them.
Oh my god.
There was actually quite a lot to talk about in this episode, and we'll get into it.
There was so much.
It was packed with stuff. Packed.
This explains why I was laughing like the entire time.
Oh yeah, it was. And the funny thing is I don't even think that it was full of big moments. Like, it wasn't like full of these really big laughing moments like I was having last week. It was just like packed with so many little things. And
yeah, barring Chad's entrance, where that was a big laugh moment. I was gone from that. I was completely gone. Other than that, it was just consistently funny.
Yeah, quality episode. Really setting a good mood for the rest of the season. All of the running gags are still hitting me proper.
Yeah, it's actually might be one of my favourite episodes of the show, because it was so consistent across the entire episode.
Well, it's only episode 2. We got at least 11 more to go, so here you go. So that's episode 2. Let us know what you thought of this episode in the comments below. You can give us some theories on the killer if you want. I don't think it really matters in this show, to be honest. I mean, we will theorise as we get more, hints, but
who cares? I just want to be funny.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So, thanks very much for watching. Like and subscribe and all that stuff. Keep an eye out for all the other new shows we've got coming. And also, another Fox show that's also horror themed, The Exorcist, ended up being quite good, the first episode. So a review of that's up, and also the second episode was got up this week, so we'll be reviewing that too. So look forward to that. So thank you very much for watching. We will see you next time.